breaching the law and paving the way for others. So the first culprit is the minister.
We have details as it emerges that most of the 500 missing excavators have either been found or never missing at all.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Bond Savings and Loans. Your success, our passion. Also brought to you by Gassem Cement, the Nation Builder. Vodafone, the future is exciting ready. He had caused the arrest of his own party's former Central Regional Executive over the missing Galamsey excavator scandal. Well, tonight, the Environment Minister, Professor Frimpong Boateng, is himself a subject of some scrutiny, with the minority in Parliament accusing him of complicity in the disappearance of the excavators and calling for his arrest. Frimpong Boateng had himself disclosed that at least 500 of the excavators seized from illegal miners had disappeared. At a news conference today, the minority insists that he and other leading members of the governing MPP are complicit in funding the illegal Galamsey miners, also benefiting from the entire scheme. Listen to the minority spokesperson on Mines and Energy, Adam Mutawakil, addressing a press conference today.
The president's fight against Galamsey was a ploy to get rid of the ordinary Ghanaian who uses hoe and cutlasses to mine, and to pave way for big wigs of the party to take over the illegal mining, or what we call Galamsey. Now, today we are talking about the vanishing of excavators and matters arising. First, let me discuss the excavators. If you follow the Minerals and Mining Act as amended in 2015 under President Mahama, Section 99(5) is clear as to where a seized excavator or confiscated excavator should be put. It stated clearly that when equipment or product means semi-processed gold or other mineral, should be kept under the custody of the police. And in this case, the law was put aside, and the minister, Professor Frimpong Boateng, decided to have his own law as to where the excavators should be put, because of the intention to ensure that these excavators get vanished for their own selfish interests, because they themselves are involved.
He says the breaches of the law, as he's just spelled out, should trigger the arrest of the minister himself and prosecution if he chooses not to resign.
Then, if you breach the law and somebody takes advantage of you breaching the law to also breach the law, then you arrest that person. If the minister had kept this excavated under the custody of the police, he's following the law. But in this case, he didn't follow the law. And as a result, constituency chairman, regional chairman now have the opportunity to take part in the vanishing and sale of this excavator. Who do you arrest? He should be the one. He should be the one who should be arrested for, first of all, breaching the law and paving the way for others. So the first culprit is the minister, because he should have known the law, and that is why he had directors and technical people under the ministry who are supposed to advise him. And the amendment was submitted by the ministries, which we amended. So they should have full knowledge of where the excavator should go. So clearly, arresting these people, they are not the culprits. The culprits is the minister and his other bigwigs, like the National General Secretary of the opposition MPP.
So what do we know so far? We know that suspended vice chairman of the governing MPP in the Central Regional Secretariat, Horace Eko Ewusi, is still in the custody of the police. Now, CID is currently still holding him, interrogating him on the issues relating to the disappearance of the 500 excavators. We also know that the arrest follows a request by the Environment Minister for the police to probe the governing party executive for his role in the carting of the excavator seized by Operation Vanguard to, designated areas for safekeeping. Now, that has been a subject of some probe so far. The police in a special operation allegedly traced 34 of the missing excavators to an undisclosed location in Tema. We're going to hear more shortly from the Operation Vanguard a team that has been leading the probe into this matter, tracing the 500 excavators shortly. We'll also be interrogating the minorities' claims as they've made tonight about the alleged complicity of the sector minister as far as this particular raging controversy is concerned. I want to bring in Mr. Nana Boedu. He is leader of the Special Monitoring, Evaluation, Evacuation and Investigation Operations of the Operation Vanguard and Galam Stop team. He joins us on the telephone line right now. Mr. Boedu, thank you for your time here on Top Story.
Good evening.
I'm pretty sure that you've heard the story about the 500 missing excavators. You lead the team that does the monitoring, evaluation, and tracking of what is happening with the team with Operation Vanguard. What do you know so far about it?
Thank you, and good evening to all your listeners. To start, first of all, I want to make it very clear that the 500 machines that is in the public domain that has gotten missing
99
is not true.
Sorry, say that again. I lost you briefly. You said the 500 machines.
500 machines that is in the public domain that is has got missing is not true.
Explain.
Yes, it's not true. Per the record given to us, the record that we have, as of August 2017 to 31st January 2020, the total seized machines from the Operation Vanguard and Galam Stop is 315.
315?
Yes.
How many of that do you have at the locations where you kept them?
As we speak currently, if you come to Accra, in the 4 yards, we have 127. And we have some in Obuase and some in Zakwa, which I don't have the figures offhand because I left all the documents. I'm just entering a meeting when the call came.
How many? So you currently have, you can account for 127
in Accra.
In Accra, but you gave me a total of 315.
315. That's
yes.
2017 August to date 31st January 2020.
Okay, that leaves a difference. Where are the rest?
That is how come we have a committee taught us much with a certain chairman, the Professor from Ombudsman, that we should invite a call for some questioning.
So we're talking about, so from your records, you were saying that if you do 315 as against what you can account for, 127, you are in excess of 100 cannot be accounted for as of now.
Sure.
Okay. What do you know so far about how they got missing?
Per the investigation that has gotten back to the miners at the time when they were supposed to evacuate all the machines to Accra. That was when they got the chance to some diverted to the owners and some too were given back by the police and the assembly.
This committee that you work with, of which you are the leader of the special monitoring team, is that the same committee that the sector minister from Pomboating chairs?
Yes, we are shocked that he being the chairman formed.
So he formed. So you are a creation of his committee.
Exactly.
Okay. Now listen to the sector minister himself, who created the committee that you lead. Talk about the missing excavators. Just a second.
How many excavators have been impounded in total?
In total, right now we have about 140 or so in our custody.
140?
Yes.
After the first year where the then Minister for Land and Natural Resources, John Peter Amewo, was going around, in 1 year we had about 500 seized.
No, that was not the case. We were told that 500 had been seized and given to the district assemblies and so on.
Because that was the official figure put out at the time.
But later on, when we went out to check, the number was far lower than that.
What was the number at the time?
I can't tell exactly what, but it was far lower than the 500 that was initially declared.
We have correspondence in regions, and Erastus Asaridonko has done a lot of work on this, where some of the excavators indeed got to the district assemblies, but were returned to the illegal miners. Could it have been that case where we reported we seized them, and then when we went there, they had disappeared?
That is the case. That was the case in most of the areas that we. So we sent people out there to talk to the district assembly, and we got Vanguard involved, and most of them had disappeared.
So the sector minister corroborates that yes, 500 was officially reported to have been seized, Mr. Nabwedu, but when we checked, he says, far less, and he says because a lot of them had disappeared. So he himself acknowledges that the 500 was an official report, but when was checked, far less, and he says the reason is that had disappeared. A lot of them had disappeared. So you say the 500 isn't true. You have to reconcile.
But the document that I'm holding, okay, when you go for the operation, you go and meet a lot of excavators. And some are not being able to track because of some parts being moved from Earth. Okay? So when you add all those machines that were seized, with Galamstop and Vanguard went to site and seized them, the total up to date is 550.
So hold on. So just let's explain that. So the 560 or 550?
550.
Okay, so 550.
Yes.
So,
out of the 550, 315 were the ones that they were able to track to the assemblies and the various places that they were sent to.
Let me break it down. So 550 was the number actually seized.
Exactly.
But
at the site.
At the sites.
Yes.
But 300 and again, give me the number. 315 were the excavators that actually were then left with the assemblies.
Yes.
Okay.
Those were the machines that were able to be tracked out from the site. The rest, they were not able to track it because some of the parts had been moved.
550 were seized. We were able to track it.
So some of the parts had been
removed by the miners themselves. But before you get there, some may the monitor, the control board, the starter, some of the parts that makes the excavator viable, they remove it. So when they remove those items, the excavator becomes useless. You can't move it.
So these were left at the Galamsey site?
At the Galamsey site, which eventually they go and replace it back and they use it. Okay.
But Operation Vanguard, and this is part of the team that you lead, if they seize an excavator, is it possible that the Galamsey operators managed to take the parts out at the time that the equipment had been seized?
Before the Vanguard team gets to the site, the information has gotten there already, because when you are going, the miners have planted informants all over, and the sites are not, most of the sites are not in the town. It's in the bush. Sometimes the route to that site becomes very difficult. I can't remember one at a point. One informant was lying in a bush From where the informant was lying to the site was 5 miles. So before you get there, these people have laid information to them to do whatever they are supposed to do.
So that is how you say that the Galamseyers get a tip-off.
Yes.
And fundamentally, what we know is, and as is confirmed, a significant number of them, more than 100, 140, can still not be accounted for. You say you are now tracking. We know that 6 people have been arrested so far.
Yeah.
Are these 6 people those you found to have facilitated disappearance?
For now, since investigation is ongoing, I would not like to conclude on that. And I'm very grateful if we can allow the investigation team with the CID to further do their investigation. They will give us the report on that.
How come the seized excavators were left at the assemblies and not with the police?
Somewhere with the police. And you go to a point, the police will tell you that they don't have a space to keep us.
And once you've left it, but the law is clear though, that keep it with the police.
Come again?
I mean, the law is clear, keep it with the police.
You see, the law came after. That has now come. Because the law even says that we should move it to one central point. That is not what we are doing.
What monitoring was in place once you've left with the assemblies?
That one I can't speak of it because I was not there.
So as to speak, is there any means of tracking where these missing excavators are? Do we know where they are at all?
Sure.
Where are they?
So I can assure you that we'll get all those machines back.
What's the basis of that assurance?
Yeah, because we know the machines are with the miners, and we are going to every site to retrieve the machines back.
Okay, still alive for me. Let me bring in Adam Mutawakilu. He's a minority spokesperson on Mines and Energy. Mr. Mutawakilu, I'm pretty sure you've been listening to the account of the leader of the Operation Vanguard monitoring team. Your reaction?
Yeah, the first and foremost, I would like to say that generally the equipment is not 315; it's above 500. 2. They operated without regards to the Minerals and Mining Act 2006-703 and amended in 2015. They never. Their work was just, we are supposed to seize equipment and other products, and they were working with their own law without regards to the law that has been passed by the people of this country. Because we, in the course of between 2006 and 15, small-scale mining took a different turn. Initially, it was those with hoe and cutlasses. They will go and scrape here, get something, then sell to be able to take care of the family. It came to a point we started bringing Chinese and other foreigners into the Galamsey fight, the Galamsey activities. Meanwhile, it's solely for Ghanaians. Then before we realized, excavators and other equipment started coming in. And then President Mama thought that there was the need to make Galamsey activities punitive. And that brought about the amendment in 2015. One, we increased the sentencing to 25 years and all that. But when it came to equipment, we're very clear that once you seize the equipment, it should be in the custody of the police.
Well, he just explained that some of the police stations said they didn't have the space to accommodate them.
That is why they didn't understand the law. When you say it should be in the custody of the police, it didn't mean that you send them to the police station and pack. You hand it over to them. They can negotiate with the assemblies, and when they pack it at the assembly, They will have their personnel there to protect it 24 hours a day. That is the meaning. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you must go to the police station and then pack it there when even they don't have space. When you hand it over to them, they will negotiate. They can go to a field and say, okay, we'll be putting it here. But they will make sure that there is security 24/7. That is the meaning.
You had today at the press conference demanded the arrest and prosecution of the sector minister. In fact, you've even expanded it to include other leading members of the MPP. What's the basis of that claim? What's the evidence that he's complicit?
He's a minister who works without the law. And that is why I said, the law said that when you seize it, let the police take custody. You never handed it over to the police. They did not take custody of it. And therefore, with his consent, from what is going on, he knew what was going on. Other people had advantage of taking most of the excavators. They were able to take the excavators because you did not follow the law. And then you ask that those people should be arrested, not you, the one who breached the law.
So,
my brother.
So your point is when you say he breached the law, but he just explained, and you've made the point about the police taking custody, but that is the minister's explanation about, well, at least the Operation Vanguard explanation about the practical difficulty in accommodating these excavators.
That is why in every ministry there are technical men and there are lawyers. And that is why I said that law that came to Parliament emanated from the ministry to the presidency to Parliament. So they should better understand it more than even we, the parliamentarians. That law didn't emanate from Parliament. It was the ministry that it emanated from. Went to the presidency, to the Attorney General, and came to Parliament. And we went through it and approved it. So in this case, who should be the best person to interpret it? The one who generated the distance. And they explained to us when we're doing clause by clauses. And by then I was the vice chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee. They explained to us.
Mr. Otakilu, but
where the sentencing should increase to 25 years and all the rest.
I've heard your argument about the alleged breach of the law, but at the press conference, you made a categorical statement that there is a direct benefit accruing to these officials, and that is why they are complicit. That's not what you're saying now.
Yes. First and foremost, if you actually wanted to do the work to the benefit of Ghanaians, you know the right thing to do.
Yeah, but that is pure conjecture.
Two. What is pure conjecture? Two. We've all listened to social media and we've heard those directly involved how discussions were going on, who owes a concession, who is supposed to do
As a member of parliament, ranking on the Mines and Energy Committee, your evidence is social media conversation?
Hello, let me come. That is why I said we all listen. I'm not talking of only social media.
Well,
where people granted interview, people have been picked up for that, and they made it public. And that is why, first and foremost, I restricted it to the law. Are you getting my point?
Let me ask you. I mean, you are the ranking. The minister is there. You have the power to bring him before the House and ask him questions and get clarity on behalf of the people you represent. Beyond making a call at the press conference, do you plan to exercise the power at all?
You see, I expected the president to have made it clear that he holds the principle of the law. And that is why we are calling on the president. Calling him to come and answer questions in Parliament is not the issue. The issue is that he breached the law. What has the president done? Up to date. Why is he quiet? I believe you are agreeing with me he breached the law. Is it not true?
Well, that's your interpretation. I want to bring in very quickly Nana Boydu, who is the leader of the Special Monitoring Evaluation Team. Nana, so at this point, I mean, the whole country is engaged in this conversation about where the missing excavators are. You express confidence that you can find them, but where are they?
As for the miners.
Where? Which part of the country is this?
You can find it at anywhere they are mining.
But if that's the case, why haven't you retrieved it yet?
We have started retrieving them.
So how many have you retrieved so far?
I can't give you the exact number, but I can get it for you tomorrow.
But you know you're retrieving, but you can't tell me how many you've retrieved so far.
Yeah, retrieving.
Yeah, but if you have, I mean, you should at least tell me at least one or two, and where?
Since we are dealing with figures, I don't want you to come out with a figure that I'm sure.
At least, but you know where in Ghana you've succeeded in retrieving any of the lost ones?
Oh yeah, we went to Abole Manso. That is Amansia West or so. We retrieved 3 there. Then we retrieved one from Shidim, that is Adahafo area. We are counting.
The people you retrieved it from, what has happened to them?
Yes, they are under investigation.
Have they been arrested?
Yes, they are under investigation.
Have they been arrested though?
We haven't, but we invited them to give a statement to that effect.
Okay, but
how
excavators disappeared. You found them in the possession of people. They haven't been arrested yet.
No, he is saying that he rented it from somebody. So we are giving a portion statement to that effect. We invited a person who supposedly rented it out to come give a statement to that effect.
You agree, Nana Boydu and the ministry, and that this is a monumental failure on the part of this whole interministerial task force and environment ministry on a task the president staked his own political career on.
I beg to differ. The minister is on his feet. He wants the President Nana Dankwa-Akufo-Addo's dream to come to pass. Nobody is being favored. And as we speak, he has directed that whenever we move, we should move with the media, with camera.
Okay.
So that nothing will be shelved. So when we come to your site and we see some of the excavators that found itself back to you, all the people in the country will get to know.
Well, I'm grateful Nana Boydu. He is the leader of the Special Monitoring, Evaluation, Evacuation, and Investigation Operations of the Operation Vanguard and Galam Stop. Make of that what you will. This is Top Story.